More, on loneliness. Don't you know that you yourselves are God's temple and that God's Spirit dwells in your midst? It is time to start acting accordingly. We do this by first remembering that it is God who made the concept of friendship and other relationships that we share amongst ourselves as human beings, and He coordinates how these relationships evolve or end. And then we need to remember that all of the comfort and support these relationships bring come from God, that these people, along with the relationships you have with them, are angels as, in angles of the plot of the script, through which God makes you more aware of Him and His love for you. He makes no mistakes. Remember that even your mistakes were carefully thought out and engineered by Him. Building on this solid track record, know now and try to remember for as long as you can, that God would never put you in a situation that is not worth its weight in gold and much more. And in this specific theme of times, when you don't get your expected reactions of comfort or support from people, and as the sting of loneliness washes over your eyes, making you feel empty inside, remember that it is now time you get to see God, sans human. That empty feeling is just your soul's focus being panned onto the unknown, God. This is how His presence should feel within you. Push past the fear and just sit with Him. You will feel the urge to ask questions once you have gotten used to the insurmountable awe, so don't fight it. Just keep in mind that He knows everything about you. This changes the moment from you informing Him of where you are emotionally, to a demonstration for you of what you need to know, so pay attention. If you can help it, try not to jump to conclusions and act on whatever first resolution mundane understanding you have of what He has shown you. Wait at least until the third resolution to act. Remember that our God is an artist and literally every aspect of living, even the bits that seem to be lacking in interest, has immense amounts of thought, calculation and beauty in them. However, the ways in which He gets us to see and appreciate things for what they are, with the understanding of the Holy Spirit, can be at times whimsical and also terrifying. As every dual opposites, they alternate times in which they manifest, just like the sun and the moon. Between these times of manifestation, there is always a period of time where there is a balance in the degrees of manifestations, and we will call this the baseline for simplicity. Now, in a cycle, we have two baselines, each representing the points at which things between the contexts of the spiritual and the physical begin to make sense again, as well as two peaks, the peak of the whimsical and the peak of the terrifying. We always start out on a baseline and then a revelation comes along, with either peak, and then we reach a baseline again, and then the second revelation with its peak, and by the time we get to the second baseline, we will have in the place of one mundane perspective, two perspectives of whimsical and terrifying peaks and a baseline's ascension in understanding, towards a greater knowledge of God. If this cycle should extend into a spiral, we will have life in the third covenant of God, the covenant of circumcision, and the name of all that has happened since the introduction of Adam and Eve, up unto now. It will continue on forever. The only difference between the past and now is that now, a larger number of us get to be aware of it as it happens. With this awareness, comes the palpable knowledge and feeling of the love of God. With this, furthermore, comes the understanding of His ways of communicating with us, individually and collectively, and the decrease in our inclination to get easily downcast, angry, afraid, desperate, or even malicious to ourselves and then others. The awareness of God helps us appreciate the isolation when He scripts it into being, and it also helps you brave the peaks, even when they are presented in the physical.
And so we know and rely on the love God has for us. God is love. Whoever lives in love lives in God, and God in them.